Welcome to the RotoWire DFS show. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Jordan Cooper and Ryan Belongia. We're talking Saturday's four-game Premier League slate at DraftKings. First up, we have to talk about what happened over the week. Ryan, I think you are the first person to have 8 King the Pitch tickets. We can't confirm it, but we think that's the case. Ryan also was 0.06 points away from taking both Europa League main contests down on Thursday. So he's running hot. You're going to want to listen to him on the show.
Yeah, running hot. Nice to have 8 tickets. I think I'm the first to 8 tickets. That's kind of cool. Defending champ and first to 8 tickets, despite 4 seconds in the World Cup. Just got to throw that out there. So, yeah, it's been going pretty well. Europa League. I won the last Thursday's Europa League slate as well. So almost 3 out of 4, and I just put 8 lineups apiece into those. I got second in the first one yesterday. Yeah, you said lost by 0.06. Pretty unlucky, I thought, with all those late goals. But anyway, no, I'm not complaining. Been running hot, obviously, winning a lot. I acknowledge that I've been running hot, but I got to say there's been a lot of near misses in there. I've made some mistakes that I shouldn't have made. So, I don't think it's the ceiling, but yeah, it's been going well.
Jordan, I listened to the show last week. Did you win anything with Declan Rice?
No, I didn't play Declan Rice last week.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. No. Did anyone play Declan Rice?
Oh, I played him. I played him. Okay. I didn't play him in GPPs, but.
Oh yeah, I crushed you. I crushed you in cash last week, right? I went with good old Jack and played Alexis McAllister in cash.
Yeah. Everybody crushed me in cash. Everybody crushed cash and doubled my score basically.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it, but I jammed Alexis McAllister in tournaments. I had 75%. I played Thomas Partey in my tournaments. That was my cash lineup, and I don't know why, but I switch it at the end. It's stupid, but I have $30 in cash going. $35 in cash and over 1,000 in GPPs. So sometimes I know it sounds stupid, but sometimes I don't make the cash lineup that I would make if I had $500 or $1,000 in cash on the line. I would make a different lineup, but no excuse.
So for this slate, we got this 4-gamer. I was thinking to myself, it'd be a lot more, I don't know, fun, if fun's the right word, but if Tottenham weren't the team that were home against Nottingham Forest, I feel like it'd be a better slate, but we just have the Tottenham result against AC Milan fresh in our minds, where they just did not look very good. Before we kick it off with forwards, I do want to note Conte had his press conference this morning, so it seems like Emerson and Perisic, neither one are going to start. They both apparently got knocks. Maybe they just look terrible midweek. It's either or, but it seems like it could be Davies and Pedro Porro on the wing for them. And then the other big note I would say is that we might see Richarlison back in the starting 11. We'll have to talk about that a little bit, but he came out after
Can we quote him? Can we quote him? Are we allowed to quote?
Yeah, we can quote him. Go ahead. What did he say?
Wasn't the fact didn't Richarlison said this season is shit?
That's exactly what he said.
And then Conte said no, he wasn't talking about the team. He was talking about himself.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. It would make sense for Richarlison to start, but maybe not after he said that. So we'll see what happens there. But
the other news is that Reece James is out.
Yes, Reece James, of course. Chelsea are on the slate, so we could see Loftus-Cheek back on the wing, maybe Azpilicueta, but it kind of seems like a stretch. So we'll see what happens there. And then I guess Raheem Sterling is also a doubt, so we could see someone else in Chelsea. Mudryk was mentioned by Graham Potter. Could be anyone, really. They have so many guys. It could be Pulisic for all we know. So those are probably the main questions. Then if you're, for some reason, considering Bamford or Ruder up top for Leeds, I think those are the main ones, the main injury issues we got here. But for forward here, Jordan, are you playing Harry Kane minus 150 to score in cash?
Probably not. I don't think you need to. He's obviously valuable, right? The highest goal scoring odds player on the slate, but I think at forward we do have high floor options that aren't as goal dependent as Kane. He's going to be popular in both formats. But I don't necessarily think the sharp play is to play Kane in cash, and I'm assuming Ryan would agree.
Yeah, I think so. Like I'm like 50-50 on, like, normally would never recommend Kane in cash or think it's a mistake, but I don't know, on this slate, like, look at his goal scoring odds, -150. No one else has better than +140. Spurs have a 2 total. It's the biggest total I can remember seeing for them. And pricing is somewhat soft, I think, overall. And it's almost like if you don't play Kane, like, who are you missing out on, I guess? There's some decent options, like quite a few decent options, but no one that I'm like, man, I'm really I need to get this guy in. Like Son, I think you can maybe play both of them, but Son is fine. But, if Pedro Porro starts, I think at best Son would take half at best. I mean, maybe it might be much worse than that. Pedro Porro might take most. So, Son's fine because the matchup's so good. And then, you got a guy like Damari Gray. I think he'd be a fine option too. But, you can fit a lot of these guys. There's not much at midfield, I don't think, at least, except, maybe Solly March, but it's not like a must play. The Chelsea guys, I don't know about the Chelsea guys. You don't know about the sets. Like João Felix, he's cheapish, but, they're getting healthier, and Chilwell is going to if Chilwell's in there, he's taking most. Like I don't even really think it's a split. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't want to play Kane, but this is, regardless of what you think of Spurs, it's one of the best spots they'll have all season. It's one of the best spots for any Premier League club at home against Forest. So I haven't decided on Kane yet, but I'm kind of warming to him, actually.
We kind of had this conversation with West Ham home against Nottingham Forest a couple weeks ago, where we had the Jared Bowen conversation with Jack Burkhart there, and they ended up, scoring 4 goals. And I mean, the thought was, Nottingham Forest, they're playing solid, but they're actually not very good away from home, and they're just not that good of a team. And we'll see how the public thinks here. I mean, that recent result is definitely fresh in everyone's minds. It's fresh in our minds for playing some of those guys midweek. But in terms of set pieces there for Tottenham, I would say, so in the second half, if I remember correctly, Pedro Porro was taking right-sided corners and Son was taking left-sided corners. So it seems like a split is set there, but we have to take into consideration, what if there is some rotation? What if we've seen recently where it's Kane, Richarlison, and Kulusevski? How would we attack that? Would Richarlison at 6,600 come into the equation because he's so cheap?
I'd be less inclined to play him because I don't think he'll play out 62 minutes. I mean, to me, the Kane decision relies on what you do in the midfield more than anything. I'm more inclined to play Son if he starts than play Kane in that lineup. Also, from a floor perspective, like I'm fine with playing Pascal Gross at 7,400 for Brighton. I mean, even though he's in a slightly deeper role, I mean, he still gets forward enough. Brighton's an attacking team, and from a floor perspective, because Kane could put up 30 points with 2 goals, and Pascal Gross is less likely to do that. But what are we doing with the Everton situation? If Gray's in, and they're playing in this like false 9 type of formation, are you hot about playing any of these Everton forward eligible options? McNeil's 8,400, Gray's 7,800, and Iwobi's 7,000. And if I told you that like they're all taking corners in some regard, like no one's gonna just stand out and like be of overall set pieces, are they really worth these prices in what is close to a pick-em matchup at home against Brentford?
Probably.
I think McNeil is, but go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, and so I would say Gray, if anyone, just because I think he's most likely to score or assist from open play, and he takes penalties. So throw a couple set pieces in there. Yeah, but he's not great. Like, I agree with you. But better than Pascal Gross, in my opinion. Like, To be honest, Pascal Gross would need to be 5,500 before I considered him on this slate. I mean, position eligibility just doesn't really matter. So I would just play another guy. Like I'd rather play McAllister. I'd rather play McAllister for cheaper. I'd rather play Solly March for a little bit more. I'll make like one argument for Gross is because it happened last game and it happened like a month ago. Is that, the right back got subbed last game and then Gross got moved over there. And that's when he got his assist. He was like playing on the right wing. It happened a couple weeks ago too. If a guy like McAllister or March were to get subbed, it's possible Gross could move up. But I don't know. He just doesn't have enough upside. Like if he's playing 90 minutes of defensive midfield, I don't want that. I mean, it's fine. I know it's like safe. I see people playing him. I just, no, I don't know. But
I agree with that. You're basically getting the 8 points and appearance on the score sheet at this point. It seems kind of lucky. Whereas McAllister, I know he's midfield only, but he's a little cheaper, and he probably has the same floor as Gross. He just doesn't have the set pieces because he's getting involved so much with shots.
Like
and shots
I would,
assisted.
regardless. Like I know these Everton guys aren't great because, what Jordan mentioned, you don't really know about the sets or their floors. They could be good, but maybe they're not. But still, like Gray being 600 more, or what is he? Yes, 400 more than Gross only. I just think there's a lot more upside with Gray and a comparable floor. Like, yeah. I mean, he's playing center forward and he takes penalties.
I think another thing between the reason I kind of like McNeil is we have a chance that Calvert-Lewin is actually back in the squad, and you got to think that he's going to be getting more minutes than Maupay was getting or Ellis Sims, so maybe that's more of a chance he's going to be subbed off early. And I mean, we're talking set pieces here, but last 3 matches, McNeil has 4 corners and 21 crosses. He's just crossing a bunch, and it's not all set pieces. That's just the way that this Sean Dyche team is built. So I think that floor is kind of there no matter what. I know he doesn't have the same, the goal upside as Gray, but
You're probably right, actually.
I do think he's a little safer.
Yeah, he's definitely got the best floor. I mean, he's been playing 90 minutes like every game again. So, yeah, I agree, especially if Calvert-Lewin's in.
Mm-hmm. I assume we're no longer on Alex Iwobi, especially at 7K.
I don't think he can be.
I mean, all I'm trying to argue for is like the anti-needing Kane
right
at 9,700. Is that like Brian Mbeumo is there at 7,200? He's not awful, right? You have Joe Felix. I don't know if he plays 90 anymore, but he's 6,800. I mean, like that's okay. I mean, if you're going to take a shot at a goal-dependent guy, I mean, Kai Havertz is 5,900. Most likely is going to play 80-plus minutes, leading the line for Chelsea as an slight away favorite. Like, I mean, yeah, his floor sucks, but you're paying $5,900 for it. It just feels like I'm not sure if I need Kane in my lineup. But like I said, when we get to midfield, I think you're comparing him to a specific 1 or 2 specific midfield options that in the constructions that if you play Kane, it'll be harder to play 1 or 2 of those guys.
So you're not dinking on down to Chris Wood then?
No, not in cash games.
Okay. Yeah, so we got.
I mean, not even in GPP. I mean, do I want to play the center forward for the biggest underdog? I mean, not really.
I know you're a Chris Wood fan, so I'm just making sure here.
I'm more of a Brennan Johnson fan.
Wait, that's Ryan's bit. Now you're a Brennan Johnson fan?
No, I won a bunch with Brennan Johnson on that slate where he scored 2 goals, and I had a bunch of him at like 5%.
Okay. Wait, was that last weekend?
No, that was a couple. That was like 2 months ago.
Okay. I guess that match was on Sunday when Everton played Nottingham Forest. So do you want to play, so in cash games, do you want to play like these 2 guys, McNeil and Mbeumo or something like that? McNeil and Felix?
I don't want to. I mean, he may have to. I think I'm right now. I mean, Son and McNeil. I mean, I think that's fine. I mean, you could do Son, like I'm a little bit higher on Gross than Ryan, but I mean, if you want to do Son and Gray, to me, if Son's in, I'm going to play Son at 8,500 over Kane at 9,700.
Clearly, you didn't play him. You didn't play Champions League midweek.
No.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It made sense midweek kind of thing as well. But this matchup is a little better. So
I just go by the odds. I mean, like I'm not
right.
blown away by recency bias. I just take a look. The Tottenham has a two implied goal total, as you know, a sizable favorite compared to everyone else on the slate. He plays on the wing. He takes set pieces. I mean, he's been going over 80 minutes. I mean, he hasn't gotten subbed out or anything. I mean, like why not? Like, okay, just based on that, why? I mean, me personally, I mean, I'll play Porro as well. I mean, right now in my dummy lineup, I got 3 Tottenham players. So it's not like I'm not playing Tottenham or anything. It's just that I'd much more rather play Son than Kane from a floor perspective than anything else.
Ryan, what are your thoughts on this Son Kane situation? Jordan mentioned the odds. I think against AC Milan, what did Tottenham have? 1.7 implied goals, maybe. So it was just a little under than under this. I mean, obviously, you still can't compare the matchups to each other. But what do you think the popularity will be between Kane and Son? Do you think some people will look at midweek and kind of, I don't know, move off of Son, or just not really care about that?
I'm not sure. I think people in general have been moving off of Son for a while now, but I mean, this matchup.
Time to get back on, Ryan. It's time to get back on the horse.
Right. It's the matchup. You know, it's like if, you know, Son would be 10K in this spot last year, the year before. I mean, people wouldn't even bat an eye to play him. Now, yeah, he's been more inconsistent this year. Spurs form. Yeah, Spurs form. Like, if you want to fade based on that, that's fine. I mean, yeah, I have currently in my article that Richarlison quote. I was seeing if you were going to leave it in or not. But I mean, you got to make a decision on Spurs, but like by the numbers, like Jordan said, by the numbers, like, yeah, you'd want to play Son. But like, I'm considering playing both of them. I don't know. It depends what you think about
in
Spurs.
Cash
like,
or tournaments? In cash?
I don't think it's the worst thing.
Okay.
I can't believe I'm saying that, but again, I'm just going to go back to, I'm just not like, there's not a KDB that I'm like, oh, I don't have him. Or, you know,
you don't think McNeil is as good as KDB?
I'm just like, I'm okay fading 10 points from McNeil. He's expensive now.
Mm-hmm.
I got a guy I'd rather play than Kane.
Yeah, Ivan Toney. Who else?
Yeah, good luck.
Who is it?
Why is he 9,300? What's going on? Who does Ivan Toney pay to have him always priced up like stupidly?
Well, I think he plays DraftKings. I think that's what it is. He's in trouble for betting and gambling, and he plays DraftKings. He plays himself a bunch. He bets on himself to score, kind of a thing. So his odds are boosted a little bit.
Are you about to say Madison, Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm a donkey for talking about Kane. I mean, I never would be on Kane in a spot like this, but
Madison's 8,700. He's back to playing 90 minutes and back to taking all their set pieces. I'm not, dude. This ain't the same Chelsea team. Like Leicester ain't that much of a. They're a slight dog at home against Chelsea. And if you take a look at Madison's last couple of games, like, they've been bad matchups, and he's still putting up 15 points without a goal or an assist. I mean, who am I more confident could score 12 to 15 points? Kane or Madison? Like, to me, it's Madison. So if I have the option that I could play Madison over Kane, why not? I mean, and if you're going to tell me you'd rather play Solly March, what's wrong with that? Also, like, why? If you had a choice of playing $9,700 Kane or $8,300 Solly March, like, I still, from a cash game perspective, I think I'd still rather have March. So, like, if I have these options at forward that I could play, right? I could play a Son McNeil, Son Gray, something like that up top, and then not play Kane, and then I'm saving like 1,000, 1,500 from Kane to play Madison or March, and then now I'm able to play like 3 defenders, that I would want to play, and then I could fit a goalkeeper in and a cheap midfielder. I mean, I prefer that construction than one with Kane, and then you're not playing Madison or McNeil, and you just got to find now you're playing in the McAllister type of range. Now you're playing, kind of 6K, 7K guys.
Yeah. So I can fit. I have Madison or March. I can fit. I'm looking at Kane, Son with Madison or March. I can fit them all.
All 4 of them?
Chilwell and Porro.
Whoa, hold on.
No.
All 4 of them and Chilwell and Porro?
Three expensive, like Kane, Son, Madison.
Oh, only 3 of them. Okay.
3, but you can only afford 3 as well.
And then you have Chilwell, Porro?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Who the hell are you playing in your midfield? You have 3,700 average remaining player salary.
Wait, John Joe Shelby? Is this the time?
No, but I'm going to play a third defender, probably like Ricardo Pereira for 3,200. Maybe Melier in goal or one of the cheap ones, and we'll see. I don't know. That's what I had. But I'm not saying it's right.
Stars and scrubs.
Yeah, I mean, who am I missing? I mean, you guys have 3.
I mean, you're punting at 2 spots.
Well.
That's who you're missing.
Right. But I mean, who's the mid-range player that you guys are jamming in there? Ben Davis. I mean, yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. Ben Davis, right?
Yeah, he seems solid. Midfield. I mean, I guess we're jumping around, but there's a couple midfielders. Like, I'm not saying I'm on that construction, but
no, your construction is viable. I mean, I'm not sure whether or not. Well, I mean, we'll get to defender whether or not Ricardo Pereira is a must play.
No, definitely not. No, definitely not.
Right, like my construction doesn't have Ricardo Pereira in there.
Right.
Because I'm playing Porro, Davis, Chilwell.
Yeah, and I would probably play Davis also if he starts on the wing.
Right, and then I have like a 4K level midfielder.
Right.
And the 4K level midfielder is not John Joe Shelby.
No.
But if you were to pay up for midfield, it would be for like. Would you if you had to decide between Madison and March? I mean, I think I prefer Madison, but like I don't think it's like a standout type of thing. Like I like Solly March.
Do you guys both like March over McAllister? Why should we care so much over like a few corners when McAllister is also on PKs and he's taking just as many shots and getting as many opportunities as March?
Yeah, he's good too.
Valid point.
Yeah, I mean, those are the 3 best midfielders. Like, I don't know what the correct ranking is. They're close. They're all. I mean, Jordan, good. Good sell on Madison. It makes sense. He's not that expensive, and like the home matchup against Chelsea is not that bad of a spot.
And I think he's going to be under. I think it'll be lower owned because people will be like, "Oh, I don't want to play a player against Chelsea." It's like, really?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah,
it's and they're and Leicester's home, and Madison is fully. I mean, Madison is fully healthy now, right? And Leicester also needs wins, and it's not like Leicester is not. It's not doing well. Right, they're going to leave Madison out there as long as possible because they need points.
You're right.
So if Son doesn't start, does any of your lineup building change with Kulusevski here at 6,700?
I think he's viable, but I think if I play Pedro Porro, I'm perfectly fine with not playing Kulusevski, who's probably not playing 90 anyway.
And yeah, that's so it's. Yeah, I think he's viable as well. It's similar to Kane for me. It all comes down to how you evaluate the Spurs matchup. I don't know. Like, maybe
why would we play Son with a split of set pieces for 2K more, but we're not going to play
He's forward
Kulusevski.
eligible, Adam. It's called positional scarcity.
So that's the only reason. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If
not the
Son was
only reason.
midfield only, I think I would rather play Madison over Son.
Okay.
The only reason. Like, the other reason is that Kulusevski doesn't normally play 90 minutes. You're not sure of his set piece role. I mean, there's just more uncertainty. But yeah, he's cheaper. I like the price, but
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, what do you think?
Well, I'm just in terms of this matchup, like how much does it matter if Kulusevski only gets 80 minutes against Nottingham Forest? What if you do
Right.
get the goals? What if you do get the goals and assists? What's going to happen?
I agree. I think I agree. Yeah, that's why I think it all comes down to how you evaluate the spot for Spurs. Do you think they're going to crush Forest, come out and like create a ton of chances, look like, because it's a spot where they could, like imagine if this was Arsenal or Liverpool or a team like that. I know Spurs aren't, but it's not going to shock anybody if they like blitz Forest 4-0 and have a bunch of floor points. But also they're like a Jekyll and Hyde side who bust all the time, especially recently. So it all comes down to how you evaluate the spot.
I still think there's more mid-range options to talk about instead. I mean, that you can't really fit into the lineup you had with like the Kane, Son, and Madison. So at least in cash games, like we have the Jensen is at 6,400 against Everton, not a bad spot. Jack Harrison 6,200. He's at least at home. There's a chance Mudryk starts for Chelsea. I'm not sure how many people will look at him, but he's 6,200. Enzo Fernandez kind of busted midweek, but he's been getting there in the Premier League. He's 5,900. What if Conor Gallagher started? Maybe there's set pieces there. He's 5,600. I mean, there's a lot of guys in this mid-range that are, they're close to these 8 to 10 point floors. So it just kind of depends on, do you want to spend up on 3 guys and be out of the loop on them, or have one of them as your second midfielder kind of a thing. So do you guys like anyone in this mid-range?
I don't think the 6K, 5K, 6K midfielders are much better than the 4K midfielders. Truthfully, I mean, especially from a floor perspective, like, dude, take a shot on Pierre-Emile Højbjerg at 5,000. Like, I mean, he could score a goal. I mean, why not? I mean, he plays for the biggest favorite. Okay, why not? My favorite in this range is Brendan Aronson at 4,500. Probably won't play 90, but I'll play 70 for Leeds at home against Brighton. I expect
cash.
Yeah, why not? He's 4,500.
You said this last week, though. Do we want players who aren't going to go 90 minutes against Brighton?
It's 4,500. It's that Harrison may not go 90 minutes, and he's 6,200. Leeds substitutes these guys in the front line between Gnonto and Harrison. You got Somerville on the bench. You got Greenwood coming in. I like this game, the Leeds-Brighton game, as far as a GPP. It's just that, like, Rudder isn't going to play more than 60. I mean, most of these guys don't play 90 minutes. So, like, I'm not a big fan of any of them. But for 4,500, I'll take an attacking midfielder for a home team against an open play Brighton team. Brighton doesn't play defensively, right? He'll be on half the set pieces. He'll probably get subbed off at 68 to 75th minute, but he's 4,500. I don't want to be stuck in a spot where I play Joe Felix at 6,800 and he comes off at the 62nd minute, right? I mean, like it's either that or you play John Joe Shelby. Yeah, maybe he'll play 90 minutes for the biggest underdog and takes 2 set pieces. It's like, what's the upside there? So that's why, like, I don't mind Brent. Am I nuts? Am I crazy? Filling a midfield spot. Now, I'd rather play Ben Davies. And if it's a utility, if you already have 2 midfielders, I don't think you need any of this. But Ryan, am I nuts for saying that, like, why not play $4,500 Brendan Harrison in cash games over most of these?
No, I'm so glad you guys had this little argument.
I'll take 10 other guys in this range than Brendan Aronson.
Okay, well, my answer is I wrote up Brendan Aronson as the second midfield option in my article. So, yeah, I think he's perfectly viable for cash, and it's because of the price. It's one of those situations where if he was 5,500, wouldn't even look at him, wouldn't even consider him. But 4,500, yeah, like Jordan said, it's at home, couple set pieces. You're not really sure the minutes about any of these guys. It's a price thing. I don't love Aronson against Brighton, not at all. But for the price, it's okay.
If we get Loftus-Cheek on the wing, you would pick Aronson at 600 more than Loftus-Cheek?
So that's the other guy I was going to bring up. I think you could play Loftus-Cheek. Yeah. You don't think he has much of a floor. Like, I'd like to see no right back on the bench, like no Aspilicueta on the bench, no Reece James on the bench. But yeah, I think that's a good price for Reece James or for Loftus-Cheek. You could play him.
James is out. We don't have to worry about James. He's out completely.
Yeah, so like I think I would be looking for Aspilicueta if he was on the bench or not. But yeah, I don't mind Loftus-Cheek.
Okay. All right, yeah, I
just
still
understand with Loftus-Cheek, even though he plays in that position, he's a much lower floor than what you would expect.
Definitely, yeah. He has a
so
low
like he's
floor.
fine. Like I'm perfectly fine with. I'd rather play Loftus-Cheek over John Joe Shelby, but I mean I'm not thrilled.
So,
I mean, dude, I'm
yeah,
not. It's not like I'm thrilled
right.
to play Aronson at 4,500 either. It's just that I think there's a lot more. There's a higher floor and higher ceiling for Aronson than even Loftus-Cheek at 3,900. Even go, well, he plays the same position just like Chilwell on the other side. It's like he doesn't do the same things as Ben Chilwell. He's just kind of out there, and he doesn't really touch the ball that much.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's priced for 3,900 for a reason.
I kind of like all these Everton midfielders, like Decore. He's 4,800, maybe a little too expensive, but you still got Idrissa Gueye at 4,100, Onana 3,700. Everton are a home favorite, so I mean that's more than Leeds are. So I mean, there's a lot of guys that are down here that you can play. I'm just not sure Aronson actually stands out more than anyone else.
Yeah, there's just not much else. There's just not much else in the range. Like you said, we're comparing him to who. You can't pay that for Decore. I don't know. If maybe Pape Sarr. Maybe Pape Sarr will get the start.
You're not swayed at all by Decore's 3 shots assisted last game?
No, yeah, I think Decore might be a good play, but just not for cash games. Like, I don't mind a play like that in tournaments, but
you're playing Aronson in cash games.
Yeah, I mean, he has a few set pieces and is more attacking. I mean, Decore just got a big
rely on deep shots from 30 yards out as part of his right.
Like Decore just got a big price bump. I mean, is he going to continue? Like, he had one good game pretty much.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Okay, it's just not really. If he was 3,800, sure, maybe he's better than Loftus-Cheek, but 4,800, I don't know.
He also probably 15 more minutes than Aronson.
15 more empty minutes. Wow.
15 more minutes to pick up a yellow card and get less points.
Sure.
All right, fine. I think we talked about a lot of midfielders here. Ryan, do you like Enzo at all? 5,900 tournament play?
Not on this slate. Not really on this slate. Just don't love the spot for Chelsea necessarily. Away to Leicester, coming off like a big win in Europe over Dortmund. Like, I'd just rather play someone like he's a little expensive. I'd rather play someone with more goal upside.
Mm-hmm. I guess while we're talking about this Everton-Brentford match, one thing I'll just say to look out for is the Brentford, how Brentford line up. If you look at some of the recent away matches, it usually used to be in the past, Thomas Frank would go to 3 center backs. They'd play a little more defensive. They'd roll out a 3-5-2. And that most of those games tend to be a little more defensive. That's usually what happens when you have 3 center backs. But in certain matchups, they'll also do 4-3-3, which I think is going to lead to a more open game. So that'll be something to look out for. I would say if Brentford are on a 4-3-3, I think there's more chances for opportunities, more goals. If it's a 3-5-2, I think it'll be lower scoring. But I know it's a minor thing, but I think it's something that, I mean, as we get to defender, I don't know if we want to consider like a Rico Henry or a Rear-Slev if he starts kind of thing, but something to look out for. Ryan, do you have any thoughts in terms of just like how Brentford line up, if that matters at all for playing Everton guys in tournaments?
Yeah, I personally, it wouldn't affect how I viewed Everton guys, but I would definitely play or consider those Brentford guys in tournaments, if the defenders, sorry, the wing backs. I would play the wing backs. They're cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as we get to defender here, Rearsled is 3,600, Rico Henry is 4,300. But again, I think Ryan's point is if they line up in a 4-3-3, he's probably not going to play those guys because they're not
And
wing
it
backs.
might be a 3 defender slate. It could be a 3 defender slate. So
right. Yeah, so
it is for me. To me right now, based on predicted 11s, in my 6 lineups, 1 cash lineup, 5 GPP lineups, I think I'll only have five defenders, and most of the lineups will have 3 of them. To me, I think the defenders that you play on the slate, as of now, Chilwell, Porro, Davis, Ricardo Pereira, and Estupiñán. Like, I would rank them like that. I would rank Chilwell 1, Porro 2, Davis 3, Pereira 4, Estupiñán 5, from a price consideration standpoint. Right? I put Estupiñán has higher raw points, but he's 5,200, and I prefer Porro and Chilwell over that. And then for the price, I think Davis is good at 4,400, and Pereira is probably 800 too cheap for Leicester. But it's like I'm not thrilled about playing Ricardo Pereira.
Nope. Nope, I'm not either. But part of the reason also is I don't think the mid-range midfield, or like the midfield punts, are very good. So like you'll be able to get away with, like you'll be able to get away with 7 or 8 points from Ricardo Pereira and win tournaments no problem a lot of times. Yeah.
Right, like I'd rather play him at 3,200 in the utility spot than like anyone else.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I really like slates like this because I can just, if these are the lineups, I can just put in Chilwell and Porro, and I mean, I'll play them on every lineup. I have no problem doing stuff like that. It just makes things much easier.
So you guys like Pereira over Tarkowski?
Adam, no, honestly, this is a slate where I will also play a center back in the flex. I have no problem doing that. Same kind of thing.
I guess Michael Keane's been starting lately as well. He's a little cheaper. He also gets forward on set pieces for Deitch.
I mean, look, we're playing these guys. We're playing those guys over Loftus-Cheek, Onana, McKinney, Tyler Adams, Kovacic. There's no opportunity cost to. So yeah.
If Ben Godfrey starts at left back again, any thoughts to 2,700 Ben Godfrey?
Is he really playing left back in their formation? Really, he's not used to provide width. I mean, like with the way that they line up with McNeil and Iwobi, like essentially those are the guys that are providing width. Godfrey's not. I mean, Godfrey's more likely to fill up the defensive midfield role when like Dukari gets forward or Onana gets forward in the midfield. So can you play him? But I mean, dude, like you're not playing a $2,700 fullback. You're playing a $2,700. You're playing a $3,300 fullback because they really are a center back, kind of playing somewhat wide. It's almost like you're playing Veltman, right? Like Veltman lines up in the same spot for Brighton and doesn't do much either, and people don't rush to play him, and he plays for a much better team. So I consider Godfrey like. I don't even think you need to go down to 2,700, but I'd much rather play a center back because I think Keane. I'd rather play Keane and Tarkowski because I think they're more likely to get a goal. Godfrey isn't even going to get forward on set pieces.
Okay, I'm a little warmer on it than you. I think you're for the most part right, but I watched the last Everton game, the one where Godfrey started. And a couple times, like he's mostly doing what you said, but a couple times he's provided with and was like way for it. He's so fast. I actually can't believe how fast Godfrey is.
That's what I was gonna say.
He will get forward maybe like twice, but in the box and like could provide an assist, could take a shot. So yeah, it's not the worst thing.
I was gonna say he's kind of like Kyle Walker because you don't think he's gonna be like the fastest guy in the field, but Godfrey, Everton always posts like speed video, speed videos, like who's the fastest kind of thing. It's like everyone's like Godfrey's the fastest guy.
Yeah, I saw him. I forget it was either the last game or the game before. I saw him get the ball in his own half, and he just blew by everyone. Yeah, he could have easily scored or assisted, but it's not going to happen very often.
Right. It's just the couple times that he actually gets up the pitch, kind of a thing.
Right, because I'm thrilled about playing a guy that has 3 crosses in 330 minutes this season.
Well, most of those were center back minutes,
right.
probably.
Yeah. I mean,
I know, Jordan. Most of the time, yeah, yeah.
All I'm saying is buyer beware. You're
right. He doesn't have a floor or anything. I mean, it's just to Brentford at 2,700. It's fine.
Yeah, there are worse things that you could do, right?
Right.
But it's not one of the, because a lot of times, Ryan, people treat like, oh, can I find a fullback under 3K and let me jam him in? And then they get 4 points, and you're like, was that good enough? Like, was that like
right? Yeah, that's a mistake. Those are definitely those are like
your opportunity cost because you're wasting a spot on that guy. Like,
definitely, that's like those cheap fullbacks. Yeah, they're losing plays a lot of time. Like that will lose you the slate thinking you can play one of those guys
instead of playing the higher. When Chilwell and Porro both have 15 points each,
right?
And you're sitting there with one of those guys and a $4,270 guy. Like if that's the case, you have to make up a goal's worth of points. You better have been able to spend up to a guy that got a brace.
I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. It happens. Yesterday, it happens all the time on these Euro League slates and these European slates. You always get these 3K fullbacks, and people want to play them, but there's other defenders who are scoring 20-plus points that you got to pay for. Yeah, it's an important thing to look for.
So in tournaments, Ryan, how heavy are you going to be on Porro and Chilwell?
I mean, dude, you know me. I'm probably just going to jam them. It's been working out so well for me. Like, they're in good spots. I guess, like, I think I would be more likely to fade Chilwell on a couple lineups. I don't know, just because of his price and, like, Chelsea on the road. I don't know. Like, Porro's pretty cheap and in such a good spot. And, he takes direct free kicks as well. I mean, I know in his debut, I remember his debut, he got, like,
he scored.
Everything I read was one of the worst debuts ever for like but he hit the crossbar with the direct free kick. It would have been a sick goal. I mean, he took another free kick against AC Milan. I mean, the guy's a talented attacker.
Right. I mean, it just seems like, at least for Pedro Porro, he's 1K underpriced here at 5,500. I mean, you're getting a massive favorite, split of set pieces. So
I mean, he's like a better play than Perisic would be, and for cheaper weight.
Yeah. So all right, are we paying up for Fraser Forster at 5,800? Are you gonna have the money to do that, Jordan, or are you?
You can, depending on how you. If you don't mind, like going down and playing Pascal Gross instead of a Son, or they just spent a little. I don't think that there's a need on this slate. It's more likely that I'm playing a goalkeeper in the mid range. More likely, I'm playing like Pickford at 4,800 or Danny Ward at 4,300 or Meslier at 24. Like one of the home keepers that are like obviously Everton's a favorite, but yeah, I'm more likely to play like Pickford, Ward, Meslier in that range than have the money for 50. Because really the difference is that do I want to play Ben Davis at 4,400 or Ricardo Pereira at 3,200 and then go up from like Pickford to Foster? Like that's kind of to me, that's the choice. And if you view it the other way and like, oh no, I'm just going to jam in the highest favored goalkeeper and screw the defender slot or screw the utility slot, if that's the case, so be it. I mean, to me, the clean sheet, it's a 44% clean sheet percentage. It's not like insane. And remember, it's Spurs. Like just anytime Tottenham's on the slate, you just go, well, they're in the great spot. They're favored by 1 million. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's Spurs.
I mean, that's the kicker. Yeah. If it wasn't Fraser Forster and if it wasn't Spurs, then yeah, I'd be considering it more. But yeah, because it is, I just can't do that. Like, yeah. It's fine. If I was just looking at the odds, like I'd think, oh yeah, he's got much better clean sheet and win odds than the rest of the slate, but it's Spurs and I want that money elsewhere. So I'll just take a chance on one of these cheap guys.
You guys are playing Brennan Johnson too in tournaments, so that's another reason.
I don't think on this slate, but yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind if he scored.
So Jordan, your pick is Pickford because you are the whisperer. I heard it last week. You said Jose Sa. He won slates last week. So you're the guy. So it's Pickford this week is going to win. It's going to win everyone money.
Remember what's the caveat on him? It's Jordan Pickford, right?
It's Jordan Pickford.
Right? It's the same thing as Spurs. It's like it's Jordan Pickford.
You guys aren't going all the way down to Navas then, is what I'm kind of leaning on here.
Well, not if you're playing. I mean, I'm probably playing Tottenham players on every lineup, even if it's not going to be Kane, even if it's not going to be Son. I'm probably playing Poro, right? So it's like it's unlikely that I'm playing Navas. Me, for GPP wise on this slate, I goalkeeper's goalkeeper, but GPP wise on this slate, I think the Brighton Leeds game is the highest scoring game on the slate. The problem with that game from a DFS perspective is that Leeds just like it's hard to play anyone because like none of them play 90 minutes. Like none of the attackers. Like I would dude, I want to play March. I want to play McAllister, Matomo, Estupinan. Like I want to play the Brighton guys, but I want to play the Leeds guys also. But like Rudder's not going to. I mean, Rudder's going to come out for like Bamford. Like Aronson's like going to come out for Somerville. Gananto's going to come out for Greenwood. Like one of these guys may go like 8 minutes in the front four. I don't know which one it's going to be. And like, I hope they score early because they're all kind of priced. You know, Aronson is a little underpriced, but Gananto you're paying full price for him. You're playing kind of full price for Harrison. You know, Rudder's cheap-ish, but I mean, you're kind of playing full price for him because if he went 90 minutes, then he probably should be 7,500 or like it feels like I like that game, but I'm not sure who to play on the lead side. But other than that, like I think the under-owned team on the slate is Leicester. I think I think I'm going to take some shots on Madison, Tete, Iheanacho. Barnes may or may not be in. Like I just think people look at Chelsea and they go, "Oh, it's Chelsea," and they'll play Chilwell, and they're more likely to play Chilwell, Felix, Loftus-Cheek, Havertz type lineups. And I think I'm more likely to play like I could stack. I mean, this is stackable. I could play Madison, Iheanacho, Havertz, Chilwell, Pereira lineups, like, you know, 3+2 stack the game type of thing. And if this is the game that goes off and like Kane only has 1 goal, right? You know, like it's not like Tottenham do badly, but like you don't need anyone there. Like I think I'm fine. I think I'm much more likely to do that with Leicester than do that with Everton. Like play like McNeil Iwobi Gray. It's like it seems like they're overpriced for the upside versus Leicester, who need points. They're at home, and I don't think Chelsea's as good of a team as their name brand value really is. And they're coming off, you know, I mean, it's not like they're playing a lot of fixtures. So there's going to be some rotation, and I don't know. Ryan, do you feel like I'm like overvaluing this spot?
No, I'm on the same page with pretty much everything you said. I like the spot for Leicester. I would definitely take a chance there before Everton. Definitely think it's a good game to stack too, like you said. I'm also interested in a cheap Leeds piece. I think for me, probably the best option would be the center forward, whether it's Bamford or Rudder. I mean, just looking for the goal. You can't really expect too many floor points in that game. I mean, Harrison's fine too.
Just get that Aronson goal or assist. You're good.
Well,
no problem.
Yeah.
Easy enough.
Yeah. Right. It's got to happen at some point, right?
You got to play Junior Firpo. Ever since I was made fun of for Junior Firpo, he's been doing pretty well.
Man, that was great. I touted him on the slate after that, and he scored a goal and won me a ton of money. So yeah, I mean, I got to thank you for that one. You mentioned Keylor Navas, Adam.
I was going to ask you about that.
Okay, Jack and I were just talking about. Oh yeah, you and I and me and Jack, everyone, we were talking about that recently. So I've seen top players doing that in the smaller field stuff a lot recently, like playing multiple attackers against the cheap goalie. I think it's fine in that. Like, I think it's definitely fine if you're just going to have Pedro Porro. Like, just on the Europa League slate yesterday, the only way I could fit, I played 2 attackers and the $3,900 goalkeeper. I needed it, and he only scored 7 points, I think. And, some of the other goalies scored 12 or 13. It didn't matter. Like, I won. So, like, if you need it, if it gets you a different construction, I'm warming to it. I don't like to do it, but on a 4-game slate, I think it's okay, and I think it's especially okay in smaller field stuff, especially if you don't play Kane. I mean, if you don't play Kane, then yeah, it's fine, no matter what.
Do you believe in that strategy, Jordan, or are you sticking with the?
It's all the context. It's all the context of the slate, of how the slate works out. If the difference between the goalkeeper scoring is minimal, then you'd want to play as cheap. Like if the lowest scoring goalkeeper is 4 and the highest scoring goalkeeper is 9, then the goalkeeper is not the position that makes or breaks you, right? But if it turns out that Danny Ward puts up 18. And Meslier puts up 16, and Navas only gives you 3 points, like then it matters, right? Right? Or Navas gives up 4 goals and has -8, right? Like that could happen. So it's really in the context of how goalkeepers on the entire slate do. On a slate with no clean sheets, typically the goalkeeper doesn't matter. Typically, you'd rather have the cheapest goalkeeper. Right? Because no one's going to score that many points if there's no clean sheet. So to me, especially on those European slates where we're expecting a lot of goals and a lot of games, you may not find many clean sheets. So that's why on those slates, a lot of the sharper players may go, yeah, I'm going to take the biggest favorite and take 3 of their attackers and then play the cheapest goalkeeper, because then the games that you have 4 or 5 games and there's it's 2-1, 3-2, 5-1, and it's like, okay, goalkeeper really doesn't matter, right? So to me, it's that's what you should be thinking about, and not just like, well, do I play Keylor Navas with Harry Kane? It's like, that's fine as long as none of these old goalkeepers put up like 15 plus points.
Right. For me, it's out of necessity. It's just to get a different construction. Like, that's it, really. I wouldn't try to play the opposite goalie from, if I'm playing attackers from that team. But if it gets you to a different construction with it, which it can, I mean, it doesn't matter if your goalie gets outscored by 10 a lot of times in smaller field stuff, because the lineups with the expensive keepers just can't get to certain players. And in those smaller field tournaments, there'll be players that are mega chalk, so builds that are very similar, and you won't be able to get to certain combinations unless you play the cheap keeper.
So for tournaments, Tottenham, Harry Kane, -150 to score. Is he going to be the most popular player? And I guess in terms of that, with making lineups, are you guys finding it? How many of your lineups are going to involve Harry Kane?
Well, I think first off, Chilwell is going to be the most popular player on the slate.
Okay.
I mean,
this is the best question for Jordan. This is the best question for Jordan because he's an even bigger fader of Kane than me. I mean, one of the most notorious Kane faders. So I want to know how much of Kane Jordan's going to play. 0.
I'm playing 6 lineups.
Yeah.
Most likely, I may play like Like if you play, like if I were to play Kane, so I would be more likely to play Kane in a lineup where I'm doing something like Forster, Davis, Porro to get 2 defenders with the goalkeeper stack for like a 4-0 clean sheet with a Kane. And also these are wingers. So like these are guys that could get assists to Kane, right? So it's like, okay, I want to capitalize on a Kane 2 or 3 goal game. So I would play something like that, but then I would have to like, I don't want to sit there and play like chalky guys also. Like that would be a lineup that I don't have Chilwell in, right? That's a lineup that I would have like Iheanacho in my other forward spot instead of Son, right? That would be a lineup that I would play. You couldn't afford Ivan Toney in that lineup. Like that would be a lineup that I have Rudder in or something. No Brighton players in. Like it just, how do I get different from that? But outside of that, like I don't want to be sitting there with Son Kane lineups. Really, I don't want to be sitting there with Porro Son Kane lineups. Like I don't want to be sitting there even with like Porro Son lineups in GPPs. Like that may be my cash lineup. I want a different combination. Maybe I have Kane Højbjerg, Davis, and I don't have Porro in the lineup. And maybe that's the lineup I have Chilwell in. Like finding a way, like to me, once you plug in Kane is going to be so owned that you have to be much more aware of the combinations of players that you're playing in your lineup and how owned the combinations are going to be. But once you take out Kane from the lineup, I think you're less concerned. Like if I don't play Kane and I just have Porro in my line, if I have Porro Chilwell in all my lineups, like, and don't have Kane or Son, it feels like do I have to worry that much about ownership anymore? Like, no. I feel like I'm probably different enough in combination.
Easily,
right?
Yeah.
So like, because I'm probably playing guys that people aren't. I'm probably playing some 8%, 12% owned guys in 2 or 3 of those style guys, and then these soccer contests aren't that large field that playing 3 guys between 8 and 12%, like you're unique enough, even with 2 60% owned players. Easily. But I think once you play Son Kane together and then you're playing Chilwell and Porro, it's like half your lineup is like duplicated by like a third of the entire contest. Like literally a third of lineups in the entire contest have all 4 players in this together. And now you only have 4 spots to get different, and you're constrained by salary as well as positions. So I'd rather not be competing with the same third of lineups with all 4 of those players. So like a max 2, a max 3. But I'm more likely to fade the higher variance. Typically in most DFS sports, the higher the variance the player is, the more I'm fading them when they're chalk or playing them when they're not. And Kane fits that bill. So I'm much more likely
Okay.
I'm much more likely to play. Like, dude, if I'm going to take on variance.
Soccer's a bit different than the other DFS sports, though.
Yeah, but it's still goal scoring. Like, dude, I could find a goal from other people.
Right. I guess I'm a little more inclined to play like a big group of chalk like that, just because you only need one player. You literally need one 4%, 5% player to score 25 points, and you don't even have to have the nuts elsewhere. It just like keeps happening over and over again. So like in spots where I'm confident about floors, I don't mind.
Yeah, but I'm not talking. But I'm Kane. I'm talking specifically about Kane.
Like, right. Okay,
my attitude with you is that I'm much more likely to have 5 GPP lineups that all have Porro and Chilwell that have GPP lineups that have Kane at all.
Okay, yeah. So this is what you talked about first is what I was thinking for myself about whether to play Kane or not, and that I'm going to have a ton of Pedro Porro and probably a lot of Ben Davis too. And like I want these guys to crush, and like part of the reason they're going to crush is because one of them's going to likely get an assist to Kane. I mean, so like if I'm playing a ton of these guys, it makes sense to have them with Kane. That's where I'm leaning. I mean, yeah. I mean, you don't need to.
Yeah, but then don't play. But what I'm saying is like then play that and don't play Chilwell.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I kind of just want my 12 points from Chilwell or whatever it is, and no matter what.
Or instead of playing Chilwell, you play Ricardo Pereira, so you could get up to Ivan Toney Ivan Toney's hat trick.
Well, what I'm saying, I'm thinking like
see the thing that you're missing, Ryan, is that I'm not saying to like well, if you do play if you fade Chilwell or you fade Porro, or you fade, like if you're playing Kane in your lineup and you have this combinatorial ownership problem, it's like when you fade Chilwell, you're not fading him so you can play another floor-based player. You're fading him so you can play Rudder or Ferguson. You're playing a upside goal scorer.
Right.
Not a guy that like, okay, Chilwell is probably going to score 12 points. Can I get a guy that scores like close to 12? That's like, no, I want to get a guy that could possibly score 25 for a 6K price tag. Okay. And I want to play Harvey Barnes. I want to play Iheanacho. I want to play these guys.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like, I agree with you, but just that, and there's so many times when none of these Rudder types do anything.
Well, of course, and that's the most likely scenario.
Right. So then you want the floor. And then, like, there are also some of these guys, like, if they score, it doesn't matter. It's not going to, like, cost you the tournament. Like a Brennan Johnson, for example.
Chris was going to score twice on this slate, and it may not matter.
Now, that one for the price, but yeah, I don't know.
But like, I just wanted to be clear that it's not like, oh, instead of playing Chilwell at 6,500, that like, oh, I could find floor for that. It's like, no, I'm going to build my construction so that if two people get hat tricks, like I'm the only one that can have that lineup because
I like that.
People are playing Chilwell in that spot or playing Porro in that spot. Like just that I don't want to play four players in an 8-player lineup. Like I don't mind 3. But that's just Ryan, that's my style. I'm more likely to play contrarian and go, I want a slate where half of the chalk does well and half of it fails. And since I haven't played any lineup that has all 4 of them together, I now have all of my lineups having a shot because I got the 2 that did well in one lineup. I've got the 2 that did bad in another lineup, and it comes in last place. So I'm looking more for those types of slates than the ones where all the chalk works out.
If the chalk fails, right? You're right. If the chalk fails,
not all of it. I don't need all of that. People mistake it for the other thing. I go, oh, Kane, Son, Porro, Davis, Chilwell, and go, I'm just not going to play any of those. And I'm like, no, that's wrong, right? Like that you're leaning to the side of like, no, don't fade the 5 highest owned players in soccer in a 4-game slate because. Like
I just like if it was I know
typically good. The floor chalk is typically good in soccer. It's just that the ceiling chalk is that's the Kane. That replace him. I'm much more likely.
Right. It's just I just want to soccer DFS is not golf DFS or NFL DFS in terms of I would for the longest time. I never even considered ownership ever. And I mean, even still, like I do now, obviously, but like even currently, all the time I think to myself, man, I'm building too chalky of lineups. Like I think to myself all the time. And then I look at the leaderboard and they're just unique every single time. Like, and I can't believe people don't make the lineups I make. It just boggles my mind. So like,
Ryan, a lot of times I build similarly. And I go, I don't know if this is too try. And then you check the ownership and you go, why is Alex McAllister only like 16% in GPP? Or a guy like there was one guy that I played last week in GPP that like I played in like half my lineups and I'm like, he's probably going to be like 20-25% owned, and he was like 4% owned.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, right. I don't know who that was, but I was just shocked. I'm like, it was a defender or some cheap defender or something. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a popular guy if you want to punt here. And it's like, 4% owned. Like,
right.
Okay. I don't get it. And then sometimes you get Ivan Toney is $1 million, 28% owned. And you're like, why? Like, why is that happening? Like how are people fitting that guy in? And then you take a look at the Ivan Toney lineups and it's like, it's lineups that, you see this is where a lot of the money in GPPs come from that we win is the people that this is what they'll do. You'll go download the CSV, Ryan. You'll see lineups like for this slate that'll be Kane, Tony, Son, right? Son and Solly March. And then at defender, it'll be whatever, Pontius Jensen or whoever's starting, Connor Cody. But you'll find like 2 punt defensemen and a 3K midfielder or something like that. Like you'll find these hilariously lopsided lineups with like 3 or 4 players that have like likelihood they're only getting 2 or 3 points. And it's like those lineups are like, you could look at them and go, they're like pretty much dead money. Like you're seeding like either half or 3/8 of your lineup to some random goal that happens once every 3 years. And that's where the ownership comes from. And like, a lot of times that's where the Brennan Johnson ownership comes from. It's like, why is he 6% owned at $7,700 this slate? And you see most of the lineups that have Brennan Johnson are horrible lineups to begin with.
Right.
Or they're in lineups where it's a sharp player playing Brennan Johnson with Kane, Pora. Like it's a Tottenham stack with Johnson. It's like, okay, that makes sense. But a lot of times it's like someone that's playing Brennan Johnson and Ivan Toney in a lineup, and then also playing Madison, and then punting twice at defender on a slate where you have 2 defenders that could score 15 points. Like it's people that look for like, oh, who's going to score the goals? It feels like casual players maybe on the toilet, like, who do I think is going to score goals? And
you say maybe on the toilet?
Maybe they're on the toilet. The toilet shitter people that make the lineups on the toilet.
All right. Ryan, you got anything else?
Anything else for tournaments? No, I don't know. I mean, I think we talked about pretty much everything. I don't know. I like to bring up a range sometimes. I'm looking at a range for tournaments with my chalk, this $7,300. I mean, like I like Iheanacho, like Jordan said. I like Mbeumo because nobody's going to play him, and it's like a decent spot. He's someone that has a ceiling when he gets a goal. We've seen it a few times recently. I like Alexis McAllister. Obviously, nobody's going to play Miedema. So I like that range. I think something good might come out of that range. But yeah, I don't know. I think we covered quite a bit.
There you go. Yeah, it's feels like a slate where we could get a Harry Kane brace or hat trick, and then Jordan's not rooting for that clearly, but we'll see what happens in these other matches. I think they're going to be kind of lower scoring. I think it's going to be kind of a floor slate and dependent on what Tottenham do. But RotoWire.com/soccer trial, free 48-hour trial to get our cheat sheets, to get our stats, to get everything. And then once you're subscribed, because you're going to want to be subscribed, RotoWire.com/chat to get into our Discord, where we will be talking. We're talking college basketball. I'll be in there talking college basketball. But no, we're going to be talking Liga MX, MLS as well over the weekend. You can find Jordan at BlenderHT. Ryan is at Ryan Belongia on Twitter. I am at Zdroik. Thanks for listening to this. Make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Good luck to everyone. And let's are we cheering? We're cheering for no Harry Kane goals. That's what we're cheering for. Okay. I haven't made up my decision on what I'm going to be cheering for, but I'll say as a collective show, that's what we're cheering for. Sound good?
No James Tarkowski goals either.
We'll see. Maybe I'll go Michael King this week. But thanks, guys. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah. Good luck, everybody.